Now let's start. What topics do we want to fix in feature 14 regarding serial and batch numbers? So what optimizations we have done there. And then also he will talk about our optimized handling of unit of measures. Then Michael will take over and we'll talk about the newest user experience improvements that we delivered with feature pack 15 in the area of sales UI, print templates, filtering print templates, and also new usability optimizations in the table service UI. Then Martin will take over and talk about our newest functionality, how we localized SAP Customer Checkout for the US with an integration for text calculation with Avalara. And last but not least, I will give an outlook into the next feature packs and what you can expect from us in the future. Okay, thanks for that. And Vikash, I would hand over to you.
So I hope you see my screen. There are several topics that I want to talk about. The first one that I want to start with is about serial and batch number enhancements. I'm just trying to get rid of a pop-up that I see. Good. So the first topic I want to talk about is multiple serial number support. So in the past, we only supported quantity 1 for serial number. And this we have changed in the last feature pack. So when I click on this dialog, or I try to sell a serial number article, what you see is in the past, this quantity was fixed at 1. And now we can change this quantity and increase it. And I can scan or I can type multiple serial number. For example, I type an ESAM or ISAM. These are all serial number. And what you see is happening is in the background, we are making a verification call to SAP Customer Checkout Manager. And from the manager, we are making a call to an X system, which can be any external system. And we get a response from this external system about this serial number. So it is verified and we get a message about this number. Maybe it is error, then it is red, or warning or information, or maybe we get no message, but just the number in return. You can also click on fetch from external system. In this case, we make a call to the external system to fetch these numbers. And you see I have a huge list. So I select one number from this page, another number from this page, third number from this page, and I add all of them. And I have all the 6 numbers now listed down here. Now I try to proceed here. And you see, I get a message that there are error messages about some serial numbers and I cannot continue. So what I see is, okay, this is a red one, which is an error. So I can remove it. Now you see I have a quantity mismatch, 6 and 5. So I have entered only 5 serial number. I click on done. And you see, because I have permission now, I'm able to add these numbers to the screen. Yeah, I can also here, if I increase the quantity to 7 and I try to accept that, I get this pop-up which says the quantity and the number of serial numbers that are entered, there is a mismatch, and this is controlled with a permission. So if you have the permission, you can continue. Otherwise, you see our standard permission dialog. I have the permission, so I'm able to now continue here. And I can finish this receipt, or I can go to sales item details. You can see we have a new tab here where I can see all the different serial numbers that have been entered. I can finish this transaction. I can then switch to Customer Checkout Manager. So, sorry about that. I wanted to switch to Manager. Okay. So, excuse me for that. So I'm in Customer Checkout Manager now. And when I go to this receipt in Customer Checkout Manager, which I just created, to serial number, and I can see here a new tab where I can see all the different serial numbers that have been entered. Now, when I was scanning those serial numbers in my screen, I will show that to you once again. When I am scanning those serial numbers in my screen, you see these warning messages that I get. How are these messages coming here? A call is made to Customer Checkout Manager. So I switch to Manager. And in Manager, in communication system, I have maintained a system here, a generic system. And in communication arrangement, you see we have a new service which is called batch and serial number verified. And the POS is calling the manager. The manager is forwarding this call to this endpoint, and this endpoint is returning me the messages. In my case, I have a Node.js server running here, and this is randomly returning me messages. So if it starts with W, then it gives me a warning. If it starts with E, then it gives me an error. And these are the messages exactly that I see here. Now, if I click on this number several times, and if I add, let's say, 10 serial number, or let me start with 9 first. So I have now a couple of numbers here, 8 of them. And I will hit here now, done, to have these numbers. So what you can see here is the price of 6,693. Now, why the whole topic was developed was, we had a problem in the past that if you have 9 lines here, 9 sales item lines, and you maintain in your ERP system some special promotions, for example, for quantity 10, then those were never applied because they were not accumulated in one line. What you see here now, I have quantity 9. I click here, change the quantity. I have the pop-up again. I can enter a new number here and click on done. It says the numbers did not match, but I accepted it. And if you see the quantity 10, the price has changed from 6,600 to 5,950, which means now if you have promotions for a serial number, then these promotions can be supported and these promotions are automatically applied in the system. There are also other basic things that you can do, of course, is you can go to search and you can search for receipts with such serial numbers or batch numbers. I select this number and I enter here SAM, and you can see how many receipts I created with this serial number called SAM. That was briefly all about serial and batch number. Now I switch to the second topic, which is about pricing and discounting. So for that, I go to Customer Checkout Manager. I go to this articles app here, and I search for this article, which is called PD. What you see here now, for this one article, I have price maintained as €1 from yesterday till the start of the Christmas season. During the Christmas time, the price is increased to €1.20. Also, currently, if you buy more than quantity 100, so scale pricing, then the price is reduced to 75 cents. Previously, in Customer Checkout Manager, we only supported one price per price list and unit of measure combination. And what you now see is time-based pricing, date-based pricing, and also volume-based pricing. So you can have multiple lines for the pricing, and based on the current situation, that price is applied. Second thing is about discounts. In the past, in Customer Checkout Manager, we only supported one discount. So it was only possible to have here one entry. And if you wanted to have a new pricing for or new discounting for, let's say, the Christmas time, then you have to wait till the Christmas time to create this record. But now, as you see, there are multiple ones. I have currently a discount going on, which is 10%. And during the Christmas time, as the price has also increased, the discount has also increased. So I will now switch to Customer Checkout, and I will now start a new Customer Checkout POS. and I will try to sell this article. So you see a 10% discount was applied and the original price was €1. So now the resultant price is 90 cents. If I change the quantity to more than 100, you can see automatically 75 cents have been taken as the price. So with this, we see we have time-based pricing in, and we have also scale pricing in. I can also go here now to functions, items, display, price elements, and you can see here what price was chosen for this transaction. Now, this topic about multiple pricing and discounting is quite complex, specifically if you introduce multiple price lists and you introduce there also priority-based price list. What if you have multiple prices for the same dates? It's a complex topic. We have in our documentation very well explained, even with examples, what happens when you have such cases. Yeah. So you should look at our documentation to see the various combinations and how our software is behaving in those special combinations. The third topic that I want to show you is about unit of measure support. Now, for the unit of measure support, I will scan an article, which is called UOM in this case. I scan this article. What happens is, this article we support selling it in 3 different units of measure: each, box, and package. So if you scan the article ID, you need to decide which unit of measure you want to sell. I select here each. If you scan the barcode, which I have assigned, for example, UOM box is the barcode assigned for the same article to the unit of measure box. If I scan that, then you see the box price is taken. If I scan now pack, then you see the pack price is taken. And I will now switch to manager to show you how this data has been maintained. So I again go to the articles app. I go to this article called UOM. And here you can see in prices, I have maintained the price only for unit of measure EA. There is no price which is maintained for box and pack. But in unit of measure conversion, I maintained one box is 12 each. And one package is 100 each. That is why when I'm selling a box, I can show you here in the first item. When I'm selling each, then €10 is taken. When I'm selling box, then it is multiplied by 12 and 120 is taken. When I'm selling a pack, which is 100 quantity, then it is multiplied by 100 and the price 1000 is taken. If you want to change something, you can always click on this function button again. So it's a two-way function button. You see here the information, which unit of measure it is. At the same time, you can click on this function and you can change your unit of measure. And this is also supported with SAP Business One. So if you have maintained price for multiple unit of measure with Business One, this function is available for you. And you can click on this function and you can change the unit of measure. And based on the unit of measure, the price that you have maintained in your Business One is taken. Now, if you combine this topic of unit of measure with special pricing and discounting, it gets even more complex because there will be so many combinations that will be possible. For that, I recommend you to have a look into our documentation. In general, our principle is simple. We always take the lowest price and highest discount in case multiple are found. So those were the 3 topics that I wanted to show to you. And with that, I hand it over to Michelle from our team.
So, and I will present you some user experience improvements which we did and mobile order in the end. So first of all, let's directly jump into customer checkout. And the first thing which I would like to show you is a new function button which we now added. This was a functionality which was already there in the old retail UI, and now we finally also moved it to the new UI. So it's about the create manual set function. So you can see it here. If I click on this function button, a new manual set will be created, and I can now add some articles below this manual set. For example, I would add now a coffee and a Blueberry Hill, and you can see those articles will be added now below this manual set. If I want, I can also change now the price of this manual set. So for example, we could change it now to 10 euro. And I can also rename the manual set if I want. For example, I can use another function button, which is called change description. And I can call it now coffee set. And I can now create by my own some new sets directly during the sales process. At the end, I can finish this creation of the manual set by clicking this function button again. And if I want, I can add some further articles here and pay this receipt in the end. So this is the new functionality, which we now also moved to the new UI. It's all about the manual set function. The next thing which I would like to show you is the drawback dialog, which was also there in the old UI. So let's just quickly enable that one. You have to go to sales screen configuration, and here below it is here called show drawback dialog after payment. I can activate this functionality, and when I do a payment right now, so when I finish a receipt, then I will always see a drawback dialog. It's this one. So this is our new dialog, which was also there in the old UI, and you can see directly here the change. So for example, when I have now payment of €7.80 and I will pay with the 10 euro note, then you can directly see here also the change. And it's also supported that you have multiple currencies here. So pretty helpful dialog. Okay, so the next topics which I would like to show you are in the restaurant mode. So therefore, let's quickly enable the table service here and also disable the drawback dialog. Okay, so in below table service, we have also now a new possibility to always show the cost column. This was also some customer feedback which we got, so the customer wants always to see the cost column, not only when we add some sales item and select the cost. So therefore, we can always enable the cost column by configuring this flag. And now, if you open any table, then you will directly see that the cost column is always displayed here. Besides that, we did a lot of other improvements regarding cost selection. So those I will also show you now. In the past, it was always like that you always had to select one item, click on the button, select the cost, and then you have to do it all the time for all articles which you add. For example, in my case, it is very hard then to add cost 1 for all those articles. Now we have a new function button, which is called cost batch select. And here I can directly say, okay, please use for all future articles cost 2. And now I can just enter all those articles and cost 2 will be selected. And the same way cost 3 and so on. So this is how you would do it in the future. And if you want to have it even quicker, then you don't need this pop-up, you can configure directly some function buttons which directly set the course number. So as you can see here below, course 1, I can enter some articles. Course 2 can again enter some articles. So I think from user experience perspective, it is very helpful and much more easier than before. Okay, the next topic which I would like to show you is the new copy functionality which we had. We always or pretty often got the feedback that it's hard to change afterwards something at the receipt. Imagine now I have a receipt which is pretty big, and for example, the waiter by mistake clicked now on exact amount. And actually, we don't want to pay this one. We want still to add some further articles, but by mistake, they just finished the receipt. So what would the waiter do now? He would just return the whole receipt actually. And now what they would have to do is they would have to enter all those articles again. And imagine if you would have now 20 articles, this could be very frustrating. And what we did now, we introduced a simple copy receipt function. So if you click on this one, then you will get a pop-up. So let's just click on it. And you will see here in this pop-up all the receipts which were posted. And now I can just select the receipt which I by mistake closed, use this receipt. Now I will be asked whether those sales items should be copied into the existing one. With it, yes. And I will be asked again whether the sales items should be copied as already ordered items so that there is no order printout at the end. I can decide whether it's required or not. So I will copy them as already ordered ones. And now the receipt is back again, and I can do my changes and can add some further articles and work as before. So again, a very helpful functionality, I think, and request from a lot of customers. Okay, the next topic is again in the table service mode. So imagine we have now two tables here, table number 20 and table number 30, and the person from table number 20 wants actually to move to table number 30. For example, he was eating this French Quarter and he wants to move now. How would we do that in the past? In the past, we would click now on split merge. We would create out of this French Quarter, we would create a subtable, click done. Then we would have actually two tables here. And now we have to move the subtable to table number 30. So we would hit move tables, move this subtable to table 30. Now it's here, and now we have to merge it here again. So in the end, it is very hard to do all those changes, and a lot of clicks are required. We heavily improved now this function, and you can do it now much more easier if you click on split merge. And now we would do the same for the cappuccino, move it to table number 30. On the right side, we have the new function button, which is called select table. You can simply click on this one, select the corresponding table, and directly move this cappuccino, for example, to table number 30. So a lot of clicks are not required here anymore. It's very simple, and you can easily move now articles also to other tables. Okay, so that's all about the restaurant mode. Let's jump into the configuration where we show you even some more functionalities which we improved there. So the first thing is about the print templates configuration page. And I think for those of you who have ever worked with the print templates here, it is very hard to configure something here, especially if you have some order print templates and you have some further configurations, some options here below. It is very tricky to do all those kind of things. What we now did is we improved this whole page by adding a filter possibility. So I can now here filter for the print job builder. For example, I can filter for the order print job, for the order print jobs. And now it's much more easier to use this whole UI because now I just see those entries which are relevant for me. And especially in the restaurant mode, a lot of times you have multiple printers, and you can then just configure those printers here. So for example, I would now need another printer for bar and another printer for the kitchen. So this is also a new function button which we introduced. This is the copy function here. So you can simply click on this copy one, and I can now easily create one for bar and one for kitchen. I can select the corresponding printer here, and I can also do my configuration here for the output locations. So you select here bar and select here the printer. So it's much more easier than in the past. You don't have to search in the whole UI. You can simply copy those things, activate it, and that's already it. So very easy now to configure order print templates, and in general use this whole print templates page. Besides that, probably also a small hint, we also extended our test page here. We have here a new function button which you can click, which is called test all output locations. So if you have a complicated print setup, which I have, for example, right now with the bar and the kitchen and so on, then you can simply click on this magic button and it will print at all printers at all configured output locations. So this can also be very helpful when you're setting up a system, especially in the restaurant mode. It is very helpful. And also in the synchronization, we did some improvements. This is actually already there in feature pack 14. So you can check that even in feature pack 14. Yeah, we also got a lot of times the request that it's hard to schedule those synchronization, especially if you already have the configuration scheduled, for example, with a cron expression, and you just want to do this sync right now. Then in the past, you would do the following: you would click on start immediately, would sync it once, and then you would change it back to the cron expression and then save it again. This you don't have to do anymore. After feature pack 14, you have this one-time synchronization, which you can directly click. And here you can select what kind of synchronization you need. So it's pretty easy now to schedule this synchronization. Okay, that's all about the latest developments and user improvements at the POS. Now let's jump to mobile order. So what is actually mobile order? So mobile order is the web app which we introduced in feature pack 14. It comes out of the box together with the manager. So you can just use this URL here, /mobile order UI, and then you will see this UI actually. You can configure it in your system. And the idea of mobile order is pretty simple. For example, if you're in a stadium and then you want to actually order some drinks and food and want to pay them directly. So you would select your seat, so your location where you're sitting. You can add your drinks and foods to your shopping basket. You can directly pay your shopping basket there, and in the end, you would just pick up your drinks and your food at the kiosk, for example, in the stadium directly. This is actually also working with delivery. So delivery is also supported there. We have a lot of functionalities which we support with mobile order. I can probably quickly show you some of them. So as you can see here, this is an event which is ongoing right now. I can select here a location. Based on this location, I will get different shops where I can buy some things. I will just add some articles to my shopping basket. And now I can go to the shopping basket. I see here an overview. Also loyalty points we can collect here in mobile order directly. I can check out those things and can now pay also with Apple Pay, Google Pay, a lot of other different payment service providers, and pay this order in the end. And this order I can now use and go to the point of sales and pick up my drinks, which I just ordered at the kiosk. Let's just quickly go to CCO again. And then, for example, we might have to switch to the quick service. Because I'm still in restaurants. 1 minute. And here I have the new function button configured, mobile order, so I can click on that one. I can scan the order which I just created, and you can see the cashier will see now all the drinks which I just ordered. You can see that the status is already paid, and an overview of everything which was done here. And can set the status actually, so everything was delivered to the customer, and the customer will directly see it here in the mobile order app. So it is a pretty nice app. And all the details about mobile order, actually, you will also see in the upcoming webinar where we really discuss it very detailed. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you. And then I will hand over to Martin.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Michael, for showing already such nice features, some localization topics. So the main part will, of course, as Harald already mentioned, our new localization to the US with the integration to this external text provider Available. And I also want to mention 2 words for the DS5 forecast, so for the German regulations regarding this. And in Germany, I will start to then concentrate for the US. In Germany, we updated our DS5 forecast export to the latest version 2.3. So this was the version that came 2022, and it's an update of the previous versions. No big change for this, some minor changes. And also we now export fund, so the deposit sales type. And this can be configured, so you can mark now an article as a deposit article, and then you will also find this type code in the DS5 forecast export. But now let's come to the US topic. in the US topic. Maybe I give some words before. I think some or most of you already know that the US has a completely different tax system than it is in Europe or maybe in most parts of the country. So they don't have one single VAT rate. They have a bundle of tax rates that could be a tax rate for the state, for the county, for the city, some special tax codes. And all of these will be bundled together to one tax rate. And so this tax code and this tax rates also depend on the location where you are, and especially where you sell. And so to handle these things, it's quite complicated if you would like to do everything with a local configuration. So selling at one point and one location is easy, but to also support shipment, it's a little bit harder. You have to maintain about 30,000 or 40,000 tax jurisdiction codes. And therefore, we decided to go with an external tax provider in the first shot. And this is Evalera. And I don't want to tell so much about it. I want to show you something. I also want to jump to the application. I want to show you how this looks like, just for your information, because we said that shipment must already be part of the first. This is we said we started with a pioneer customer with Leica that is already live now in the US, and for them shipment is a big requirement, as it is often in the US for high price products. Shipment is required, often because of saving taxes. Because if you ship it to a different location with lower tax, the customer can save money. Okay, but let's jump to the application. Maybe to explain this, the point of sale system is for calculating the taxes. It will talk to the customer checkout manager, and the customer checkout manager has a configuration to an external tax system. In the first step, this is Evalera. You can easily add this one, like you know how to add communication scenarios. There's now a new entry called Evalera Tax Service. Then you can create this tax service. And also the destination is pre-configured so that you just have to enter username and password of your Evalera account. You can then check this, and then the system is already done. And let's come to the arrangement, because here we have some interesting settings. The outbound service that are interesting, and also tell something about the functions that we support with the external tax provider. The first is the address validation. So because we also support shipment, the address will be validated by Evalera and will also be like your suggestions if the address is something wrong. I will show you this later. We have a list retrieval because Evalera also provides us code lists like tax sin codes, exemption codes, and so on. And we retrieve such lists. And then also interesting is the receipt outbound service. This allows us to finally post the finished receipt to Evalera. And with posting these receipts to Evalera, it's possible to file your taxes with the help of the reports and the functionality that Evalera supports you and gives you. And the most prominent one is the last one here on this list, is the tax calculation. So this outbound service allows us to calculate tax of the current receipt that is like in process. I will show you this, but before I go to the point of sale system, I will shortly stay at the customer checkout manager and show you one difference in the article creation. So if you are used to set up a VAT-based system, you usually maintain your tax codes and also use them. In the US system, you will not find these tax codes, and you don't need those tax codes because everything works with tax sin codes. So what is a tax sin code? A tax sin code is something that allows Evalera to define which tax rate is relevant. It could be that water is reduced in California, but you have to pay maybe half the tax in New York, and in Alaska you have to pay the full price for water. So you can then say, okay, this article might be water, and we have some value help where you just can type, and EverLever has about 5,000 text codes, and you can then, by typing these, you can select them, save them. And for user-friendly, we also allow this on an article group, and then all articles belonging to this article group and all the subgroups will inherit this text code. Okay, so far so good. So let's jump now to the point of sale system. This point of sale system looks in the first moment very similar to the one that you will know from the German or Europe system or some other sort of VAT-based system. But if you add the first article to the receipt, you will recognize that the price that is shown is a net price, and we only show a subtotal. There's no text, there's no total. Also, you see this on the line display. So I had a simulator here, and you see the line display here. Unless you just add some articles, and to go on to proceed for the payment, you have to click this button, and now you see this calculating taxes. And in this time, we send this receipt to EverLever and get back the response with the calculated taxes. And you see that we have now the taxes on it with the $12.78. We also show now in the line display a subtotal and the total, because you have to know in the US, people just see the net prices. If they go to a supermarket, you don't see the gross price. The gross price, they will just be, we just see them once they go to the point of sale system. And as I mentioned already, in the US, we have on one location, we have several tax rates that are combined to one big tax rate. So in my example, we have now 4 tax jurisdictions maintained for the state, for the county, some specials, so 2 specials, and in some they will end up with the tax of $12.78. If I would add something new, I have to again proceed to payment. I can hit this and I can press exact amount, and then let's see the flow. So first of all, the receipt has been modified. Also here you see instead of VAT-based, you see all the amounts net-based. You see a subtotal, you see the tax amounts, you see the total, and you see a detailed list of taxes. By the way, this table is now able to be turned off. For the US, by default, we will turn it off because they are not interested in these details. And I know also other countries that are not interested in showing these tables. So this is now a configuration in the hardware settings, and by this we can turn off this table. And now let's see the flow in the Customer Checkout Manager. We will see this receipt that was just posted, and we will see at the dispatch state that this receipt was successfully forwarded to EverLever. And now we come to EverLever. This is the portal where you can see all your transactions. So also if you have maybe transactions from your web shop and something else, you can see them. And also here we have this receipt, and you also see the location where it was sold. And also based on this, we see all these text details that we have collected. Okay. Then let's show you a little bit more complex scenario, also show you the shipment. So let's also put some items into the basket, and now the customer wants to have the shipment. By the way, the shipment is also available in non-US mode. So this is a general new function that we provide. You can open the shipment and you can just enter a shipping address, or you can pre-select a customer. Like I want to now send it to Mr. James Wexler, and he lives in New York. So for the moment, I will just add him to the receipt. Don't do anything with the shipment address. We see now that we have a tax of 1095, and if we look at the header display, we are still in California. And now I say, okay, this is I just added this customer, and now I want to use them for the shipment address. So I use this information and say, okay, please ship this one to James Wexler in New York. I enter this, and now Evalera has validated the shipment address and has figured out that there's a more precise zip code that would fit to this address. And I decide to take this more precise address. I press apply. And if you now have a look at the text, we will recognize that the text item has changed to New York. They have a state, city, and a special text. And the text has been changed. I will clean the printer, because this is also one feature what we have. If we have shipment, we will also allow to print besides the normal receipt where we have the customer, where we also show the ship to address and also show now the New York address. We will additionally print out the delivery note. And this you can put to your package where you ship it, and then you already have a delivery note, and this is also available in A4 format and all the other formats that you know. And again here, if we go to Evalera and would look how this receipt looks here in Evalera, you will immediately see that also the ship from Santa Clara is now to ship to New York. So this is also reflected. The text code of New York is considered, and Evalera now knows that these texts needs to be filed at the New York State Tax Authority. Okay, and then of course there are some more functionality which I don't want to show you in detail because it would take a little bit too much time. We also support tax exemptions based on sales item level and on header level. And there is one last thing that I want to show, which is again available for the US market, but also looking for the VAT-based market. And this is the sales report for Texas. So there's a new sales report called Texas. And if you would click on this, then also download it, and it looks a little bit beautiful. Then we will see this tax report, and we will see that the taxes that were collected for each tax jurisdiction. If you would have been a VAT-based setting, then of course here would something like France, and the district type would be country, and the tax rate type code you would find A1, A2, so the 0%, 7%, 90%, whatever different codes, and you would see aggregated the net amount and the tax amount that is based on this.
Yeah, so first of all, big thank you to the whole team to showing this great new functionality. Now let me have a few words what comes next. So our next feature pack 16 is planned for the second quarter, May 2023, and feature pack 17 is then planned for Q3, September. So the main new topics that we have here on our roadmap is we want to optimize the customer checkout user interface, especially for our retail customers. Some of you probably know our old UI, the initial user interface we had, and then we reinvented that, redesigned it to bring this new UI design to our customers. And from the look and feel, it's very good. Also, the customers in the restaurant area like it, but from the retail customers, and especially these customers which use the old UI, they have some improvement proposals. Yeah? They want to see more columns. They want to have more flexible to style the receipt component, which columns shall be shown, and so on. And the quick selection part is not that important as it is in the restaurant area. On that, we want to react. So this is one very important topic, and another very important topic is receipt reversal. In German we say Storno. So in the end, currently we don't support receipt reversal. We only support the return process, which is what you can achieve a lot, but a real receipt reversal, for example, also for cash ins, cash outs, is today not possible. And this is what is also on our roadmap. We got a lot of customer feedback that this is a very important missing functionality, and that's why we hopefully tackle it with feature pack 16. As I said, I cannot, it's not a commitment, yeah, but this is what we are currently working on. It's planned for feature pack 16. If we don't get it done, it will be moved to 17. And then the tax calculation that Martin just showed currently is only working together with Avalara, but we also have a lot of small customers who have probably a point of sales only at one location, and they don't need this complex calculation things for different states and so on. And for that, we are working on a local US tax calculation in addition, which can then also be out of the box integrated, for example, with SAP Business One. Then also the digital receipt download page, we are reworking the UI design, and article export is also a topic which a lot of customers ask for. How can we download from the Customer Checkout Manager all the articles that are maintained to validate does everything fit and is everything aligned between the ERP system and Customer Checkout Manager? And this is also something that we can. Good. I think I don't go into much more detail regarding feature pack 17. Of course, we will continue then with our roadmap, and also, I mean, yeah, what are the long-term things for the next 5-6 years. So very important is, of course, strengthen the core, so improve the existing functionality. We have now more than 750 customers, and we get every day requests for improvements, and that's our main challenge and our main topic to improve this existing functionality. Then security is also clear. Constantly we invest into security with each and every release, although we have not shown these things because they are below the surface, yeah, so you don't see them, and at every release we do updates there. Then integration inside this SAP family, you know how many products we have, is a very important point to also improve there, not only to S4 and Business One, but there are also retail products like OPPS, like OSTA, like Customer Activity Repository, and here also, or for example, Customer Data Platform, and also here integrations are on our list. And user experience, I also don't go into detail. This is also a constant topic. We take the feedback from our customers and we improve the usability. Then intelligent self-checkout. Here the question comes, how will the point of sale system be used in future? For sure, the self-checkout scenarios are increasing. We already have customers who use customer checkout in a self-checkout mode by extensions of partners. And when we talk about intelligent self-checkout, then we think about that there's a camera system which is identifying which articles the customer has taken, and then just leaves the store, and the payment, tax calculation, all the business things is done by customer checkout. But then we have the topic mobile orders can and go, which Michael already showed first parts, but this will then also be brought into retail that you can scan with your smartphone articles, create a shopping basket, and then just leave the store. Discount schema is also a very important topic, which we get a lot of requests from our partners and customers. Here, SAP has a very nice product called OPPS, Omnichannel Promotion Pricing. We have several projects where this was integrated, and here, over the years, we also plan to natively integrate it. And last but not least, also one of our favorite topics is to invest into central configuration management. All of you probably know that we still have to do some configuration locally in the local point of sale system. And here we also want to bring all these things to the Customer Checkout Manager that you can centrally do it in. So now my last slide, just a short preview of the new retail UI. This is a mock-up, yeah, how this is intended to look like. Most important point is you can see that here the receipt component has got much more space. You can see much more columns there, and yeah, it is also the intention that you can customize that. Yeah, we deliver a default, and then you can customize it in the Customer Checkout Manager. You can define there which columns shall be hidden and which shall be shown. Then you can also see the scan field. Here, this is also feedback we got from customers to make this more prominent. And then you also see the optimized for the retailers, the number came to the right side. And we placed the most important quick selection buttons to the button. But as I said, this is feature pack 16, feature pack 17, and only a preview.